All right, ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. This one might get a little X-rated. So when it comes to sex, yes, we said it. Let's get it out there. Let's just put it out there. Say it 3 times fast if you want. But ultimately, when it comes to it, the act, just talking about it, education, preferences, everything like that, Lakeia believes that it should really be in control of that individual. What you prefer, what you don't like with your partner, everything like that. While it can be experimental, it should also be at your comfort level at ease. So what did she do? She really took matters into her own hands. Just from the amount of research that she did to just growing up and exploring and wanting to get comfortable with her own self, she ultimately branded it. So not only does she offer, erotic parties, sexual education, she also has an Airbnb that has been themed in each room. So I encourage y'all to check out the page, check out what she has going on. But ultimately, she came on today to let us know everything that she does, what she has going on, how she can be of service to you, how she could even be of service to you and multiple people if you wanted to put presentations together, throw parties or anything. But for those in the area, I definitely encourage you to check out that Airbnb. But we got into all things sex today, just from education, like I said, to preferences, to even how she really got her start and decided to brand herself and what she really does and what she really offers. So be sure to check out those products. Be sure to check out that Airbnb. But first and foremost, enjoy episode 133, Fulfill Your Fantasy. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner. Look, I got to give a big shout out to Micah for this one. Micah is somebody who has not only shown love and support from the podcast from when I first started and was just doing the audio and hadn't really figured out what direction I really wanted to go with the podcast. We were in our early stages of the episodes and everything like that. But she's someone who, as we've kind of gotten years in, gotten some experience under our belt, she showed up to the live events, showed support, even sent me some recommendations. And that's actually how I'm sitting down with this young lady today, Lakeia, man. Michael was somebody who sent me over her page, sent me over the content, and told me that she definitely thinks that she would be a very interesting person to bring on, present what she does to the people. And I couldn't agree more. So very excited to be sitting down here with Lakeia today, but definitely wanted to tip my hat and tell Micah, thank you for the love, thank you for the support, and I hope you enjoy this episode just the same. So now, Lakeia, how we doing today? How's everything?
I'm well. How are you doing?
No complaints at all. Whenever I get to sit down with a business owner, entrepreneur, like-minded creative, man, I'm always happy, always very excited to bring that exposure to the people. So speaking of the people, for one, I know we're going to have some people from your side. I know we're going to have some mutuals through Micah and just the same, but I know we're also going to have some people who may be tapping into this episode for the first time, tapping into the podcast for the first time, or really just maybe trying to find out more about what you do, your products, your services, and everything. So can you, one, just tell us a little bit about yourself? And then can you, two, just tell us what brings you on the Down to Business podcast today?
Yes. So, like he said, my name is Lakeia Young. I'm the founder and owner of Erotic Fantasies LLC. Pretty much, I'm a safe haven for individuals to explore their erotic fantasies. I sell adult toys, different novelties and products. I host adult parties, provocative paint parties, and I also have a sex themed Airbnb for couples and, just people to explore different sides of themselves, alter egos, and what's truly deep within. Also, my Airbnb caters towards bachelorette parties, you know, girls' nights, just birthday events, just different things to really bring people together.
All right. I love that. I love all of that. And I love how you kind of explained it as people being explorative, people being able to see different sides of themselves, alter egos, behind closed doors, whatever it may have you. So, being that you're involved in so many things, you just listed a few things out right there. Did one of these really come first? Was there one thing that you really particularly honed in on? Were they all kind of trickle effects of one another? Did one get started and kind of lead into another? What was really that process like of expanding yourself like this?
Yes, so actually my toys they came first. It kind of started during COVID. Um Honestly, initially I was working at a car dealership and they cut my hours 50%. And so I was talking to my friends at the time. I was like, I need another source of income, but I don't know what to do. And, me and my homegirl, we were kind of diving deep and like, what can I do? What can I present? What can I sell? And my homegirl was like, well, what are you good at? And we joked around and we was like, sex. And so I actually was like, you know what? Like, maybe I could sell sex toys. And initially it was for the money. But as my business started to grow, I really understood the impact that I made upon like people. Like I have a lot of people, they'll come to me and say, you saved my marriage, you're helping me through my celibacy journey. And that's what kind of shifted my focus, and it allowed me to understand that it's not even about the money anymore. It's really about making a difference, helping people like explore their bodies, learn themselves, helping couples within their relationships, within their marriage. And that kind of completely changed my entire perspective on what sex truly is, like what it means to let your erotic fantasy come to real life experiences. And so that really kind of set the platform for what I wanted to do. And I was like, this is bigger than myself at this point. And once I shifted my focus on that, I was like, okay, I want to provide an affordable way for women in particular, because I cater mainly towards women, for them to actually explore themselves, so and not break the pocket. Because I know when I was a little bit outside of grad school, I was thinking, I was like, I need to figure out what's the issue when it comes down to like our ways of exploring with sex. And I was thinking, I was like, sex toys are expensive. They are super, super expensive. And also, not everyone feels comfortable going to a sex store and picking out products and talking to representatives. And so my sex toy company is primarily online. People, they can order from the comfort of their own homes, and the packaging's super discreet, so it just allows you to have more of that comfortability without breaking your pockets. And so that's kind of where I started my sex toy business. And then actually had, one of my customers reach out, and she was like, you should throw parties. Like, I would love to have a sex toy party. And I was like, I mean, I've never done it before. She was like, well, I still want you to host one for me. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. And so I hosted my first sex toy party, and it went great. And, a lot of women learned about different sex toys, learning about exploring their bodies, what different products do, how to incorporate products in their relationships. And it just showed me the difference. And it also showed me the lack of knowledge that a lot of people in our community have when it comes down to sex education. And so that's what helped me start the parties. Then the Airbnb, that's my newest venture. I actually started the Airbnb in October. And honestly, I've been wanting to do Airbnb for a long time, but I didn't know, like, what exactly I wanted to do with that, because I knew I wanted to incorporate my business and my love for sex and sex toys and sex education in that. And so I thought of the idea to have a sex themed Airbnb. My Airbnb has different themes to it. So, like my master bedroom, it's primarily like luxurious, is great for couples. My second bedroom, it's like silk red sheets. It has bondage straps, so if you have like a bondage fantasy, you can definitely like sleep in that bedroom with your partner and explore that fantasy. My third bedroom, it's more fun, but it's also catered towards advocating for your sexual rights. So my room, the third bedroom, it has just different decor. It says, what's the safe word? Because I want to promote, consensual sexual behaviors. And then I also have a BDSM room where I have like a sex swing, a St. Andrew's cross, as well as a sex bench. So it's just different things that are within the house that, just bring that fun, desirable environment to your everyday life.
I love that. I love the. I feel like you low key just took me on a bit of a journey, and I think that was much appreciated. One, from just the testimonies that you were getting from other women, and to one, how this all started, to just a playful conversation, to really coming into business. It's always so interesting to me that a lot of these businesses, these ventures, these creative explorations, whatever you want to call it, really start from various things. Sometimes conversations, sometimes a play on words, sometimes a joke almost, or sometimes something that you've been thinking about all this time, but really finally put it into action. So the fact that, you've been able to do so much and in turn educate, in turn save marriages, just like you said, and in turn just really provide an enjoyable experience for women, for marriages, for people. Because while you said you're definitely more so catered towards the women in the toy aspect and just what you provide, I think the vibe that you curate, the education that you allow, really it also helps us men just the same, because these women are implementing these things or trying new things out. Or even for us is education, because men may be shopping on the website just the same or may not know where to start or what's what, but thorough explanations and the thorough demonstrations and things can really help with that. And I will say, for y'all out there who have not checked out the video recap that she did in presenting the Airbnb, please do that. It's a vibe. It was something that I watched. I was just like, wow. It was actually one of the first things that I think Micah sent me when she was sending me the content and just everything like that. And you were kind of setting everything up from just the intention behind it. Because I think I even saw that your dad was helping you out, get some things set up. It was amazing. So the fact that you were really able to put that all together, the fact that someone came to you and really trusted, one, the knowledge, the expertise, and wanted to put a party together for you, and things went well. Man, I just absolutely love all of that. And I love that, whereas sex, depending on who you talk to, can have various connotations. I love the connotation and the message that you're putting behind it. While it can be an enjoyable experience, while it can be something fun, it can also be something where we learn, where we're educated, where, it's not always our way or the highway, or different things can be implemented to allow for a more pleasurable experience. So something I guess something I'm kind of interested in, because I've seen it like promoted, presented, everything like that, are the parties and the demonstrations themselves. Now, I've seen people do things where like they have like their own company. They sell like the toys underneath maybe a name that they have made or a website or something like that. I've seen the advertisements on like the cars, like call us if you need this, if you need that. Now, what is that really like when it comes to you? I understand that you have your own company with Erotic Fantasies. Now, when it comes to like just doing these parties and these demonstrations, are these things that you have to be like certified for? Because I would understand, I mean, I would hope that some people aren't just getting up here and just talking about things and not really knowing, or not really putting in the due diligence and the time. But I also don't know really what behind closed doors looks like. So do you have to be like certified? Do you have to be like some sort of instructor? Is this just something that you offer as a service, as a runoff of what you do as a business owner?
Yes and no. So technically, you do not have to be certified in order to do it. Of course, if you're doing, like, if you're a sex therapist or if you're a sex counselor, that's where the certifications come in. But actually, just researching and giving like basic sexual education, they do have like some courses and stuff, and I've taken some courses, but there's no, when it comes down to the legalities of it, there's no actual like schooling that you have to take behind that. A lot of my knowledge has come from personal experience. A lot of my knowledge has come from me reading books, articles, watching videos, talking to other instructors, other sex coaches. And it's just come from, me studying the industry, studying, different things, like, taking courses on, STDs and just different things. It's a lot of biology, it's a lot of mental that goes behind it. But there's not any actual like schooling that has to be held in order to be in this industry. Realistically, it's all about learning. I'm still, even myself, learning till this day, experience different things with my friends or my partner, or but there's no set in stone way of jumping into the industry. When it comes down to other businesses that promote sex toys and everything, they may have different like structures that they may use, but at the end of the day, like, pretty much all the information is consistent across the board, because there's no set way of doing a lot of things. Like, for example, I'll sell, particular toys that may be for the vagina or the vulva, or, that's geared towards stimulating the nipples. Whereas, someone may purchase it and they may use it around their anal region, or, just different things. So there's not one set way on what sex is supposed to look like.
And I think that's such a beautiful thing behind it. One, you just taught me something, but two, I think that it's so amazing that it can be situational.
or experimental, or just, it's not, it's no right answer, or no right or wrong answer per se. It could be things that, maybe that's just not your cup of tea, maybe that's just not your preference, maybe that's just not what you prefer, but that's okay, because for someone else, that may be what gets the job done, that may be what they like, or that may be what they don't mind trying, just to say yes or no. Because I'm a big don't knock it till you try it type person. That pretty much comes with
Yes.
the perspective of life in general, not even just talking about sex, but about food, about places, about traveling, about, everything. Now there are certain, it's certain things like within reason for me, like just with it, still speaking life related, like that I just look at, or maybe it's just not for me, or maybe like I don't need to be jumping off of that right now, or flipping off of that right now, or riding on that right now, doing different things like that. But other than that, I think that when it comes to exploring yourself, when it comes to, your body, your partner, even just you by yourself, I think that is something that can also come with time. There may have been things that growing up, or when you were a younger you may have looked at, and you may have just, rolled your eyes or looked away with disgust or different things like that. But now that you're older, you've read some things, you've seen some things, you might have felt some things. Now you're a little bit more open to something, or you're a little bit more willing to try it, or especially with, it comes with, it's a comfort thing. If it's all about your partner sometimes too, and just being comfortable and trusting that person. Because if you're not, comfortable with a person, to lay down with a person, or to just do everything, you may not really pull out all the stops, or you may not really go fully into you or tap into you, which is a lot of times why we hear women say that, it's been multiple partners and they never experienced this, or they never experienced that. And it may just be a thing of the partner. It may be a thing of comfort. It could be a little bit of everything. But I think the fact that you come into it with such a open mind, but with such a willingness to educate others, I really just think that's the most important part. Because even as you spoke about in the beginning, when you came in and you were doing the toys and everything like that, it was about the money. It was about, just being able to sell and what have you. But now, now that you've really been able to talk to people, now that you've received and a copious amount of testimonials and just reviews and experiences, and he have even been able to go out and curate your own, I think that's just as important. So now I'm thinking about the industry itself. Would you say that, when you came into this industry, when you were doing the toys and everything like that in the beginning to start off, did you have any reservations? Were you nervous at all? Did you feel like you were stepping into an industry that was already like dominated and populous, and you were kind of just trying to figure things out as far as like market and promotion and how you would actually get this out there? Did you come into this kind of confident just because, you knew a lot of women, you knew a lot of people who may have experimented or done with toys, and you knew now that you could be that connect almost? What was that like for you really getting started, and kind of that overview that you already had of what was in front of you?
Honestly, I was super nervous, super nervous. And that's what my nervousness is what told me that this is why I need to do it. Because one thing about sex is not a lot of people like to talk about it. We'll talk about it, amongst our homegirls, amongst our homeboys, but we don't talk about it in public. And that's exactly the reason why it pushed me to promote my business, because it needs to be talked about more. It needs to be normalized. It's something that majority of people on this planet do. And for me to be nervous to talk about it, that really showed me like, okay, I'm not the only nervous one out here. And that's what kind of forced me to jump outside of my comfort zone, because before my business, I was kind of reserved. I was, to myself. I wasn't really open about a lot of things. And it showed me like, look, I need to jump outside of my comfort zone, and my business has pushed me to do so. One thing about the sex industry that I didn't really know is that it is currently, as of this year, it's a $30 billion business. And they project it to be a $60 billion business within the next 10 years. So that kind of shows you how much sex plays a factor into people's lives. When it comes down to like exploring and learning your bodies, just talking to people about my business has showed me how much people are not aware of a lot. Like a lot of people don't know how to make themselves orgasm. A lot of people have never tried sex toys before. They don't know how to incorporate it in their relationship, or they're comfortable doing something, but their partner may be a little closed-minded about introducing certain things. And so that's kind of what's motivated me to really put my face out there and really to teach people, like, you have to learn your body. You have to know what signals, or why your body does X, Y, and Z. That's kind of what motivated me. And before I started my business, I actually spoke to my family. I spoke to my mom. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a business. And my mom was like, what is it? And I told her, I was like, I'm gonna sell sex toys. And she was like, whoa. She was like, I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, yeah. And my mom was like, well, I support any and everything you do. And that meant so much to me because coming from, a more conservative family and a conservative background, I was definitely expecting to receive a lot of backlash. But from my immediate family and my immediate friends, I'm super thankful from the amount of support that I received. I have received, of course, negative responses. Um, there are some family members that are, baby boomers from the older generations that I actually don't even talk to right now because of me promoting, sex. But of course, with every business venture, you win some, you lose some, but it has showed me that it's needed. We need to talk about sex. We need to talk about exploring our bodies and, just being able to understand ourselves. I've learned so much about myself, what I like, what I don't like, what I want, what I don't want, just based off of the business, just based off of me exploring. One thing about me is every toy that I can possibly try on myself, I've tried. And for the men, I've gotten, men to test out different products. So I know what each of my products is capable of doing. And of course, I test out the quality because I want to make sure that, my customers, my clients are getting the best top notch product for their, for their dollar. And I just want to be able to share with them, just because a product is promoted in a particular way doesn't mean that it has to be used that way as well.
Whew, man, you said a lot there. I love that, man. You're really even giving me just more perspective. But I love the idea, that I think you made a great point about thinking about what you wanted to do, thinking about what you were about to involve yourself in, thinking about your family background and upbringing, and just thinking about, having to have that conversation and what what the response was going to be. But seeing kind of the night and day difference almost, whereas, wow, mom was definitely shocked. She opened her, it drew her back a little bit, but in the same breath, she was very supportive and very happy. And honestly, I think that when you have a support system like that, whether it just be coming from family, immediate family, whether it be coming from friends, whether it even come from strangers and people who you may not know or mutual connections, I think that just gives you all the more reason to stay motivated, to continue to step outside your comfort zone, to continue to want to elevate and reach new heights, because it's just like, okay, well, if I got people behind me, if I got people backing me, well, maybe this isn't as bad as I thought. Maybe I was about to think myself into a dark hole or think myself into some negativity or something that it really wasn't, when all this time, it really wasn't this bad. Or I had people, who were thinking about it, who were talking about it, or who were wondering about it, who needed education. Because a lot of times what I'm noticing in talking to a lot of these business owners, talking to a lot of these entrepreneurs, talking to a lot of these creatives, what you're doing, what you're offering, what you're educating, what you're putting out to the masses is needed. People are
Yes.
resonating with it. People, whether they thought they knew something about it to some capacity or maybe learned a little bit more, whether they knew nothing and this was really a great starting point for them, or whether they may have been pretty well versed, but you helped to confirm some things for them, or you helped to just throw in a little bit more nuggets and gems for them today. Because even as even as me, I consider myself, I'm almost, well, I had to kind of count on my head a little bit. I'm almost 4 years in to the podcast. I still listen to other podcasts. I still follow other pages. I still read other emails and subscribe to other newsletters because I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly picking up little gems and tricks of the trade and things that are just helping me. Because a podcaster in New York could be doing something totally different from me. A podcaster across the country could be doing something totally different from me. But essentially, what the common theme across what we've said here today, which you've agreed upon, is that people are talking about sex in some form, in some capacity, in some way. They're having sex somehow, some way, but are they doing it to their utmost ability? Are they talking about things, and are they just speaking blindly? Are they speaking from opinions? Are they speaking from what they may read or what they may watch on TV? Or are they truly speaking from experience? Because I think that that's another key element that you added. For everything that you could use or experiment with or have someone else use or experiment with, you did that. And I think that that's so important. And that really even further goes to show and support the point of, it's not about the money for you. You're not just trying to get a quick bang for your buck here. You're really trying to make sure that people are having these conversations, people are having these experiences and enjoying them and learning from them and
Yeah.
benefiting from them, and then being able to share that with other people. anybody can just, order some things off of Amazon or do this or do that and really just sell it out or drop ship or third party or put a middleman in or make your own or whatever. But are you truly, back in the mission, back in the brand, back in the everything that you say and you put on? And I think for you, to even take it a step further, the Airbnb wouldn't be a thing. These demonstrations and these classes wouldn't really be a thing if you weren't really in it to win it, in it to really benefit others. And so I love that so much. But in the same breath, I also think about you do a lot. You know a lot. You've learned a lot. You're still learning a lot. And you're providing this experience for others and everything like that. So what really has that balance been like now that you're, now that the Airbnb is up and running, it's out there for people. It's a definitely a twist and a spin on things. Now that you're still doing the sex toys, the sex demonstrations, and you're getting more testimonials and people are really reaching out to you because they're entrusting you. They're loving the experiences. They're loving the education and everything that you're providing. How do you balance all of this? Because I know that, while you're involved in all of these things, you're still thinking about different, ways to still generate more income, ways to still continue to get yourself out there, ways to continue to still market and brand yourself. So with still wanting to continue to elevate, with still wanting to be successful and push erotic fantasies as high as it can go, how do you balance everything that you're doing now with on top of, just being Lakeia and still having a life?
Honestly, the balance is, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it can be actually easier than you think. Reason being is because they all intertwine with one another. For example, say if someone books the Airbnb and they're having a bachelorette party, they can book me for a party and I'll have the party at the Airbnb. And then, of course, with the party, I'm bringing the toys to demonstrate. And then, of course, at the party that's at the Airbnb, they can purchase the toys right then and there. So it kind of balances each other. They can be completely separate. You can just buy the toys, or, you can just, purchase, book the Airbnb. But honestly, since they're so intertwined with one another, it makes things completely easy. I view my business as one in itself. I view it as a whole, even though they're completely separate entities. I'm thinking of different ways to better intertwine them. Currently, I'm actually trying to get a vending machine put inside the Airbnb to put some of the toys in there. So whenever I have people, from across the country book my Airbnb to stay, they have toys that are readily accessible that they can, just purchase right then and there while they're inside the Airbnb and, really explore that way. So, of course, it can be difficult at times, separating my business from personal life. But, one thing I noticed is, it's all worth it at the end of the day. Like, this is my passion. So I kind of consider it part of my personal life, to be honest. It's just something that I love to do. My therapist, she told me, she was like, you need to take days off. But, even when I take days off, I still catch myself just, researching different things, because that's what brings me peace. Researching different products and researching different things that I can add inside the Airbnb. Like, that's truly what brings me my peace. And so, you know, it comes natural at this point, honestly. I started Erotic Fantasies about 3 years ago. I started doing the parties 2 years ago, and I started the Airbnb in October. So it's kind of been like a year time span between each venture. And so it's kind of helped me solidify the platform for each one. And eventually I plan on launching lingerie and, tying that within the mix. So it just falls all together.
I will definitely say I hear the passion. I hear just, almost in just listening to you. There were a couple of there were a couple of your replies where I was really just so lost in your reply that and granted, when I edit this out, it's not going to sound that way in real time, just because I'm going to cut some of that blank space out. But there were a couple of times where I was just sitting here like just staring at the screen like, wow, like that's very interesting, or like I was kind of just like thinking, or and almost didn't realize that, hey, you got to unmute yourself and reply. But no, I definitely do hear just the really just the love, and again, to use the word passion. But I can definitely tell that, like you said, for you it just comes so natural, just to hear you really explain this journey from start to finish, to how you really got started, to how you really just little by little built this foundation and added one piece to the puzzle at a time. And ultimately to see you paint this picture for me, for my audience, and for everybody out there who, one, may have already known you and experienced you or dealt with erotic fantasies in some way, or for those people who, after this interview or in listening to this interview are now going to consult you for different things or reach out or shop the page and everything like that. And even now to know that you have more things coming in the lingerie and just things like that, it also just lets me know that your mind is just always turning. You're always just going. And even like you said, people are telling you, you got to take days off and you got to do this and you got to do that. But I echo that sentiment of, when you just love what you do so much, when it really just brings you joy, when you wake up and that's one of the first things that you're thinking about or realizing that you have something to do for that today, to you, it doesn't even really seem like a job or like a gig or like something that, you have to do. It's something more so that you want to do, that you love to do, that if I'm not doing it, it's just like, wow, well, I feel off or something is weird. Because I know for me, I've talked to so many different people about how, if they're not creating, if they're not doing something for their craft, for their passion, in a day, it's not a day for them, or they can't let a day go by at this point, without really incorporating that in their life. And I really feel the same way, especially with the podcast. There are days where I may be having just a lazy day, or I may not feel like doing too much, or I may know that I have things to do, but I may be procrastinating. But in some way, in some form, in some fashion, tomorrow will post, work on, or contribute to the Down to Business podcast in one way, whether it's just hanging a board in my room so that I can start writing things down now to keep track of things, whether it's just reposting the episodes on social media, whether it's just reaching out to some new interviews to schedule for the week. In some way, it's like that. But the fact that, that can be translated across different industries, because now we're talking about you and what you do. And I can definitely tell that, not a day goes by, hell, maybe not even an hour sometimes goes past without you, making sure that you made the brand happen or elevate in some way. So I love that. And, with that though, I'm also wishing you nothing but the best, nothing but continued success, nothing but continued
Thank
elevation, because I love what you're doing. I love the creativity behind it. I love the marketing behind it. I love how you're really getting it out there. Like I said, when Micah sent that to me, I was just scrolling the page. I was just like, wow, this is,
you.
this is amazing. This is really cool. So I was very happy when you reached out. But I also know that, with things that we love, with things that we thoroughly enjoy, with things that, just really get us going, that there can be hardships, there can be trials and
Yes.
tribulations, there can be, downfalls, there can be days where we're just not feeling it, or it's just, it's just one of those days simply. So for you, have you ever had moments where erotic fantasies, where you lost motivation, where you may have been disappointed, where people may have not gotten the vision the way you wanted them to, or maybe, I feel like there are a lot of misconceptions and a lot of stereotypes and a lot of myths and things like that that naturally just come with sex in the industry and just things that you do as well. So have there been things that you have had to overcome to truly make sure that erotic fantasies is getting the best and all that it deserves?
Yes, I think one of the biggest things that I face, and it's funny because it's not even directly from like a particular crowd. I think one of the biggest struggles in this industry has got to be marketing, because it's different if, you're selling like shirts and lashes. It's, I wouldn't say it's easy to promote that, but you can post it all on social media. Whereas I have to be super careful about my verbiage, exactly what I'm posting. Because, there's been times where I posted, dildos on TikTok and TikTok got it shut down. I've posted, certain things on Instagram. I'm, talking about anal and I'll get, a post shut down like that. Honestly, that can be super discouraging, because when you think, like, as a business owner, you're like, oh, I have a great idea. I think it's going to go viral. And the minute you post it, it just gets shut down. Especially with TikTok and Facebook, that can be, the biggest challenge when it comes down to this, because it's hard for me to promote without without getting shadow banned. I actually ended up just recently making a whole new TikTok because my old business TikTok ended up getting shadow banned, and they weren't really pushing my content like that because of the type of content that I try to promote. So I believe that's probably the biggest thing, and honestly it's still something that I'm struggling with till this day, really just being able to market without getting my content taken off, or just last week I had something take down. So it's definitely a challenge, even when it comes down to like ads. It's super hard for me to get ads and stuff like that, just because I am promoting sex. I'm promoting dildos and sex themed Airbnbs, and I just have to be super careful with my verbiage. But in reference to like any backlash from particular people, honestly, I don't get that much backlash. Honestly, I really get like praise because a lot of people are, they're like, I couldn't be able to do something like that, and so it really shows me like, I just have to be super creative with, how I'm marketing and, how I try to reach people. I've noticed, the parties themselves, that's probably like my best way of marketing, because I can talk to people firsthand. I can meet people at these parties, demonstrate to them and, just show them, you know, everything that I'm able to offer them and, how I can make a difference in their lives. So, yeah, honestly, it's probably the marketing that's the biggest challenge that I'm still facing till this day.
And honestly, man, the fact that you're going about things the right way, and like you said, this is really just your business and what you're doing and what you're trying to promote, and that can't be seen by just these websites and the creatives. But you'd be surprised what gets all the plays and what gets all the attraction, and the OnlyFans and the funny videos that they put up that aren't always the funniest and things like, or people not necessarily promoting things or offering a business, a product, or a service. But for the people who are really trying to go about it the right way, we get, like you said, those shadow bans, or we get the post taken down, or we don't get the real love and true exposure that it deserves. Which is why social media, to me, like, I've had a love hate relationship with it, just because it's like you want to make sure that you're following all these algorithms and making sure that you're
Yes.
posting here or posting there, making sure that the post are seen, or making sure that people are interacting with it the right way. I remember that picture that was going around where it was telling you what each, like, a comment, a share, and then the bookmark, now what each one weighted
Yes,
and,
I
like,
remember
the
that.
interaction. It's just like, wow. So you're telling me, like, I have to get people to save my post in order for it to be seen the most, or I have to get them to be sending it or commenting it. And then with the comments, I have to reply within the hour for them to really be seen. And it's just like, come on, man. I'm just trying to
Right.
promote what I'm doing. Like, and it's just like, for me, as much as you want to follow that and abide by that, it's just like, why do I have to do all of that? And at the end of the day, for me, it's also just like, look, if this is social media and this is the message that y'all promote, and things are supposed to be fair and equal for everybody, and everybody follows the guidelines, then I should be able to post whenever. But like you said,
Right.
it's that challenge of figuring out when and where, and still wanting the best for your brand, but still always having to get creative. Because as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as creatives, our minds are already churning and spinning and thinking of different things, and always trying to figure out what we can do to dare to be different. So the fact that social media, then throws that loop at us, it just makes things 10 times harder. So people really don't understand that. So I'm glad that you were able to put that into perspective for us all, especially with your industry. And
Yes. And
especially for what it is.
honestly, and I love that you said, as entrepreneurs, we have to be creative because one thing that I started doing was, like, I've actually been on like different sites like Pornhub or XNXX, and I'll see someone using a particular product and I'll just drop my link. Like I'll just comment underneath the video, and like, cuz if I know I have like a similar product or a same product, I'll just like comment my website or, comment my business name and like promote myself that way. And so it's really has being an entrepreneur in this industry has definitely required me to get, super creative with my marketing, going on, porn websites or, even OnlyFans and stuff, like reaching out to, different people, even OnlyFans creators and stuff. Like, I've reached out to different creators, so they can drive marketing to the Airbnb as well. I've actually partnered with some swingers. I know a swinger company in Charlotte, and pretty much they have a swinging business, like a lifestyle business. They actually host events like once a month, and they book my Airbnb, and they have like their events at my Airbnb. So it has taught me so much about this industry, but it's honestly awesome. It's so awesome just to see like the different types of people that I can meet or collab with, or just different ways that I have to be creative when it comes down to like marketing and like getting my brand out there.
That's amazing. And that's really, it really just goes to show the work that's always being done, whether you realize it because you're putting it out there, or a lot of things that get done behind the scenes. Like people wouldn't have known about the partnerships that you, about the people who you were reaching to, about just different things, if they just look at the website, or if they just look at the content, or if they just kind of hear you. But, to dive a little bit deeper into things, to take a step back even sometimes and really just realize that there's a lot that goes into this, that you're working even when you're not working, that even when you're posting, even when you're thinking, there's still things that need to be done. There's still people that need to be reached out to. There's still other avenues to explore. And ultimately, that is how Erotic Fantasies, how what it is that you do, how other business owners, how other entrepreneurs will continue to elevate and continue to be successful. Just always keep for as much as, life can keep you on your toes and just things happen. I think that you should really keep yourself on your toes. Allow your business or your brand to never be, you can be content with things. You can be happy with the direction that you're in. You
Mhm.
can be, and as you should be, always celebrate your success and always appreciate the small things, but just never get too comfortable. Just when you
Yeah.
think that things are on the right track, just when you think, oh, I made a killer sale, or I just got booked out for 2 months. Okay. Well, what can I do to make sure that next time I get booked out for 4 months, or I make 10
Right.
more sales, or I add another, like you said, driving more traffic and driving more marketing. So I love that. And so you kind of already did this with the lingerie and just kind of giving us a sneak peek into that. But something that I'm very big on here with the podcast is I like for this, kind of like I said earlier, just I like to take a deeper dive into things. I like for people to kind of get exposed or just hear things. Even sometimes for the first time, we like to kind of be that breaking news for them. So for what you can disclose, for what will not spoil what you have coming for Erotic Fantasies and even other avenues and ventures, is there anything that the people should be looking forward to? I know we're going to have some people, obviously, who are customers, who have left testimonials for you, who are shoppers, who are, even have probably reached out to you to pick your brain and get some expertise and things like that. But I also know that we're going to have some newcomers along the way. And I know we're going to have some people from our audience who are very interested in now following along the journey of Erotic Fantasy. So is there anything that you're looking to, debut this year? Any products or any services or anything that as the year kind of goes on, even anything that you kind of have set as goals for Erotic Fantasies that you're hoping to knock out, whether they be in the coming months or even by the end of the year?
Yes. So, sneak peek, because you were the first one to know, I'm actually dropping an ebook this year. I'm collaborating with a close friend of mine. Her name is Malaysia. She is the business owner of Malaysian Inc. on IG. So she's an awesome creator. She's helped create so much stuff for me. She's creating some artwork for the Airbnb. She's created the outlines for my provocative paint parties, because at the paint parties, pretty much you just paint while I'm going over the sex toys and, sex education and just different fun things. You'll be painting erotic artwork. So it'll be, two lesbians, performing 69, or, a couple having sex, or a woman giving her man head, or just different things. So I'm collaborating with her this year, and I will be dropping my ebook soon. It'll probably be in a couple months. I just want to make sure it's perfect because it's an interactive journal. It's primarily catering towards self-love, understanding your body, understanding like your sexual experiences. There's going to be so much content in there, and it's super interactive. I have different activities for the readers to perform and to do. And honestly, like, I'm super excited about it, super excited. And she's actually going to be doing the illustrations for the ebook. And, she sent over the drafts, and I'm super excited. I know that, it's going to be something that everyone can benefit from, just on their self-care journey, self-love journey. Want Even if they just want to learn about, different toys, and a couple of things that are going to be within the ebook. I actually go over personal experiences. So I talk about my first time using a sex toy, talk about my first time having anal sex, my first time, having sex in general. So I disclose a lot of personal information. So I'm super excited about that. And so, yeah, so you're the first person to know. So super excited about that.
There it is. There it is. See, look, man, that's why you tap into the Down to Business podcast. That's why you stick with us, because we always got a little something for you up our sleeves. So no, I'm definitely very much looking forward to that. Looking forward to everything that you have coming, because I know there are probably some tricks of the trade, some things up the sleeve that before 2023 is over, we will be seeing Erotic Fantasies making headlines and continuing to do great things. So I definitely appreciate you, man, from start to finish. Like I said, from just the time that you reached out to just the understanding that you had with getting this interview scheduled and just what we ran into on my back end. I messed up, y'all. I'm gonna just be honest. I had some confusion with my schedule, and Lakeia was very understanding of me, because as someone who values their time, I hate to waste other people's time. So I always feel, so bad when that happens. But she was very understanding and accepted all of my apologies. So I appreciate that. But no, nonetheless, was very excited to sit down and really pick your brains today. And you really just gave me, like I said, you really opened up my mind and my perspective to just this industry and just everything that comes with it, and just the conversations that are being had around it and the experiences that are being had around it, and how things, can really play out. How when you really tap into things, how when you just don't knock things originally, or just don't go off of what you've read or what you've seen or what's been dramatized on TV or social media or anything like that, and you really tap into self, the endless possibilities that can come with it. So I continue to commend you, doing great work for the ladies, for marriages, for solos, for couples, for you name it. And I continue to, also encourage you to continue to just be that vital resource for people, because, like I said, just in the testimonials, just in going through your website, the page and the content, man, you provide from start to finish an experience, but a very informative experience. And I think that's definitely needed when it comes to this. So Down to Business is definitely sending you all the love, sending you all the light and all the support that we can. But before we officially wrap up, arguably the most important part of the interview, the people want to find you. The people are going to want to tap into you. The people are going to want to see, really everything that you have going on, from the lingerie drop to just the education to the Airbnb to everything like that. So can you just tell us the best places to reach you, whether it be social media, whether it be website, anything like that?
Yes, so my website is eroticfantasiesonline.com. And my Instagram is erotic fantasies underscore. Those are the best places to reach me if you even just need any advice about, your sexual experiences, or what type of product that you should purchase, or, just want to talk. I'm an open ear and I'm super friendly. I don't bite. So, yeah, you can definitely reach me at my Instagram page, or you can just go straight to my website at www.eroticfantasiesonline.com.
All right, y'all. So y'all heard it here. Tap in, man. I know something in this conversation resonated with someone, or sparked maybe some curiosity, or maybe you thought you may have knew something, but Lakeia said something today that kind of had an eyebrow raise, or kind of put a light bulb in the head or anything like that. But nonetheless, I encourage you to tap in some form, in some capacity, even if it's nothing more than just shooting her a follow, just saying, hey, I see what you're doing. I love what you're doing. Go Black business. You know what I mean? So no, Lakeia, I definitely do. Thank you. I appreciate you. To everyone out there who continues to support the podcast, to listen to us, to show us love, to even send people our way like Micah. So thank you for that as well. But no, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And this has been another episode of the Down to Business podcast, here with Tamar Turner.